We are ready to start. We wondered, since it was so cold out, what the audience turnout would be. And this is delightful. We're so surprised. Thank you for braving the cold and being here. I think we're in for a real treat this morning. Today's speakers are going to talk about downtown Montrose, give us an update on projects and initiatives. And our first speaker will be our Deputy City Manager, Ann Morgenthaler. She was born, raised, and educated in Colorado, attended Colorado College for her bachelor's degree in political science, University of Colorado in Denver for her master's in public administration. She previously served as Community Development Coordinator for the City of Ouray, Town Planner and Building and Planning Director for the Town of Telluride. She is a board member of Montrose County Housing Authority and Downtown Colorado Incorporated. She will be followed by Michelle Wingfield. Michelle is coordinator for the City of Montrose Development and Revitalization team, more familiar to us as DART. She has a bachelor's degree from Western Washington University, is just about to finish up her master's in public administration from Adams State University in Alamosa. She just received a graduate certificate in public sector leadership from Adams as well. Her previous experience was operations coordinator for the City of Delta, customer service team member for the City of Boulder, recreation coordinator for the City and County of Denver. She will be followed by, and this was an addition not known to me, so I don't have a lot of bio for Scott, but we've heard him a lot at forum. Our city engineer, our spectacular city engineer, Scott Murphy, who's gonna wrap up the program for us. So lots and lots of information. It's gonna go real quickly. We're so pleased to have all of them. Please join me in welcoming our
Good morning. We know that Scott is a favorite, so we wanted to add him on to this presentation. I'm Ann Morgenthaler. I'm the Deputy City Manager for the City of Montrose. I see a lot of familiar faces in the room and some new faces. It is so great to be here, so thank you, Kathy and Judy Ann, for inviting us. I'm just going to start by talking a little bit about a big project that's been happening downtown that I suspect you've noticed. Has anyone seen that our City Hall has been under construction? So it's been a really big project and it's coming to an end. We're having a ribbon cutting on Monday, the 16th, this upcoming Monday at 1:30. So please join us for that in order to learn more about the project and walk inside and see what it's like for our community and for our staff working in this updated space. The City of Montrose bought the building in 2022 in April. In March of 2023, we moved into the building. And then in April of 2024, we started renovating the facade. So it has been an ongoing project. We've made a lot of progress in those 3 years, thanks in large part to Jim Scheid, our Public Works Director, who's here. He's been managing that project for us. We're so fortunate at the city that we have someone on staff who can manage these big vertical construction projects. Even though this one didn't have to go from ground up, it may have been more difficult because Jim was keeping not only staff working in place, but keeping the building open for the public the entire time. There were a few days when we had public entering through an alley, I think under scaffolding in order to get in and pay utility bills. But the rest of the time, you all have been entering through the front, and we thank you for your patience. We kept it open the entire time. to the public, and our staff have been working through every single noise of construction in that space. We're excited to show it to you because it is a wonderful community facility. The interior has been updated a little bit, but really not that much. We ripped off some of the old wallpaper and created some new meeting spaces. But the exterior is what really is a new contribution to our downtown. Michelle will be talking about the facade improvements that are happening downtown. And we felt like, as a good steward, it was our responsibility to make that building look better. And I think we have, oh, should I click forward? Maybe it's next picture. There we go. So the top picture is what it looks like when we bought it in 2022, and the bottom photo is what it looks like yesterday. So we felt like we had a responsibility to try and bring this building up to the standard that some of our other private property owners are doing in downtown. So we tried to make the mass and scale fit in better with the adjacent historic properties. We didn't want to pretend like there was a lot of historic material left on our city hall, but we tried to match the scale of the windows and the materials that are used downtown. We did, on the west facade, discover some old brick from 1940s that we were able to keep. So when you walk around that corner and come to the ribbon cutting, you'll see it. If you can't make it to the ribbon cutting, check it out. You'll know it's kind of this old yellowish color, but we think it's really cool to be able to keep some of those materials as this building has changed over time. So now it fits in better with the downtown. Our citizens have light coming into the building. You can see into the windows. You can't tell exactly right now, but those big dark windows acted like a mirror when you walked by. Now when pedestrians walk by, you can see it, and you can see what's going on in your city hall. And also we hope that it'll keep you engaged as you're walking down Main Street, continuing to shop, as opposed to getting to this big albatross of a building and turning around. So thank you, Jim, and thank you to all of our staff for this project, and thank you to you, our community, and our council members for funding it. We think it's made a really big difference downtown, and we have some beautiful Christmas lights on top of it, just in time for our parade this weekend. I think that's all I'm going to share for now, and I'd love to kick it over to Michelle. You heard about Michelle's background, and we're just really lucky to have her in this role. She came initially to the city of Montrose and started in our public works department. And then when the DART coordinator position opened, we took the opportunity to snag her into that, and she's just been doing great, which you're about to hear all about. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so as y'all have heard, my name is Michelle Wingfield, and I have been having so much fun coordinating DART. Does anybody, don't cheat. Does anybody know what DART stands for? That doesn't work for the city. So a lot of people think that DART stands for downtown arts, something like that. They start guessing. But what a lot of people don't know is that DART is actually, we don't just service the downtown area. Today we'll be talking specifically about downtown, but we take strategies that the National Main Street Program has and implement them citywide. So anyone who is in the city can benefit from what we do. And we, that being said, so the whole purpose is to amplify what makes Montrose unique. So historic preservation and small business support, beautification projects, it's all with the goal of preserving a sense of place in Montrose. So that's the intent. And in order to do that, we work with community members, small business owners, whoever is interested, really, all of you. If you want to get involved, you can come to our meetings. They're all open to the public. They are generally on the first Tuesday of every month. So our next one will be January 7th at 8 a.m. It's generally in the community room of the public safety complex. So join us. And all of that being said, as Ann mentioned, don't forget, there's the grand opening this upcoming Monday for City Hall. one of the things that we do with DART is offer grand opening ceremonies for businesses citywide. Sometimes we collaborate with the chamber to do that as well, so they've been fun with that. And we've had, in the 2 years that I've been in this job, maybe about 20 grand openings, and that's just what DART's done. So there are businesses popping up all over the place, and that's been really fun to see. But that's not the only kind of event that we do. So within making Montrose vibrant can fall special events, because why not? And so I've had a really good time implementing some different kinds of special events for the city. And this one in particular, we had, does anybody remember the solar eclipse we had in April? Did anyone go to this by chance? Yeah. This is the city employees right on. Thanks. But so it was just a partial solar eclipse, and it was taking place on like a Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember. I think it was Tuesday. Anyways, and it was happening midday, and I wasn't quite sure. I hadn't done a ton of events for the city yet. I wasn't quite sure if it would go, and it went. People turned out. I think we had a little bit of an advantage because we were the only ones left with the eclipse glasses, but still, they came. We had live music, and what was really cool about this event was it just felt like an authentic collaboration among a bunch of different entities. We had the Black Canyon Astronomical Society come out, and they had a solar lens to look through. And then we also had the Children's Museum come out, and they offered a bunch of different activities. And we also, and then of course Mosaic, which is a boutique downtown if you're not familiar, but they came out and they offered some block printing. So you got a unique, by the way, it was called Get Mooned at Centennial Plaza, obviously. So you got to get a unique tote bag for the event. So it was so much fun and such a weird Tuesday. It was disco alien themed. I'm leaving out all the best details. But that being said, then my partner in crime over at Public Works, he's our Public Works Special Events Manager, John Sullivan, and I coordinated the Montrose truck stop. So the intent was to bring in food trucks. We wanted to see more food truck options in Montrose that have gotten through our sales tax, really, in order to be able to vend at events. So when you go down to the amphitheater, you'll have more options, and it'll just be more fun, have more options. But so it kind of started like that. So main intent was food trucks. We wanted to just have events where you can show up, and that's the goal, is supporting the food trucks and eating. But we can't just end there. So we added some live music. We the first event rained out. So did anyone go to the Montrose truck stop events? Not bad. All right. So the first event rained out, but it was still a pretty good turnout. It was cold, and people were showing up in their work outfits, and I don't know, I was happy with it. It still felt very community oriented. And then after that, starting in July, it took off. It was very exciting. So we this is taking place in the Block 93 area, if you're familiar, which is directly behind Mosaic and Fabula. There's a whole alleyway there that we'll talk about. But we ended up also partnering again with Mosaic, and they coordinated 93 Fleet, which was kind of a vintage shopping, handmade items. It's been a goal of theirs for a long time, and it was a great opportunity for us to just work together on it. So they brought the alleyway to life, which is a popular concept among Main Street programs. So anyways, we'll get there. But that was a fun opportunity to also try out Block 93 more as an event space and to see how it works out. We actually recently maybe 2 years ago, added some electricity for some food trucks. So it's, I think, our best spot downtown to have food trucks currently. Yeah. In addition, the Halloween event that has long happened downtown, historically on the morning of Halloween for kind of geared more towards preschoolers, but we ended up moving it to the afternoon so that all ages can come, and it has been a blast the 2 years. The last year we were perfectly fine with attendance. This year was nuts. So we were excited to be able to help the businesses though this year and sponsor a little bit of candy. We purchased $2,500 worth of candy that got us about 30 bags, but these bags it's about the size of a tote bag, and it's all the cheapest candies. It's like Smarties, whatever. So still, candy is expensive, and so as you can imagine, as a small business owner, people are not necessarily coming here to shop. So this is an event that the businesses are participating in as for the community, and so we wanted to be able to help support them do that in doing that. But it's also a cool opportunity for people to come by our new city hall. This year, it happened to be during the time when people were walking under the scaffolding, and then Ann did a really good job she decorated the entire thing to make it enticing, and there was like a skeleton, and anyways, so it was part of the fun. It made it kind of spooky, but anywho.
Can I interject one thing? Oh, okay.
Who came to this event? Okay, a few people. I would say that if you like seeing kids and families having a great time, dressed up, enjoying the community, come next time and just sit in City Hall and observe, sit outside on Main Street somewhere. It is really incredible to see so many kids come out in their sweet costumes and parents having a great time. And we invite you to wear costumes, but even if you don't want to, we'd love for you to just come and enjoy this event. It's not just for kiddos, it's not just for people who have kiddos, and it was super fun.
And then last but not least, most recently this year, we had our Small Business Saturday, which is of course, I'm sure you've all heard of it, but a nationwide thing. We have always done, raise your hand if you've heard of Mama Bucks. Everybody. So Montrose Area Merchandiser Association, but now it's called Montrose Bucks, and the city operates it. And we do a big sale every Small Business Saturday. We sold out very quickly this year, which I think was good. We sold out maybe around 2 p.m. and normally it goes into the following week, so I guess it's picking up a little bit. But we, in addition this year, you might be familiar with the holiday theme of Candyland Christmas. That was this year's theme. We decided to maximize on that and then create this board game. So we had, I think it was 23 or 27 businesses, I don't remember, participate, and they just sent us their logos, and then they offered some sort of special that day, whatever it was, and then on the back side of it we listed that. But if you as a shopper went and purchased from 3 different locations, then you got to receive a $20 gift card. So that's kind of the best case scenario to combine a special event and then also supporting small business. The shopping events are very popular among the businesses downtown, and so we want to increase those. Just any way we can to get creative and bring the businesses together. It was also cool to see all sorts of businesses working together. And this wasn't even specific to downtown. You could be anywhere in the city and unrelated to Montrose Bucks, but we do want to do that more. So all that being said, so for 2025, I don't know what our events are going to be yet. We'll probably do the Montrose Truck Stop again because it was really fun. But I'm very open to feedback, so let me know what you want to see, and maybe we can do it. And it doesn't need to be specific to downtown either. But Anywho, the other part, one of the other parts of what DART encompasses, so within making Montrose vibrant, right? We also, you might have heard of our facade improvement program. It's a grant that the city offers to building owners, and the goal is to invest in the buildings so that we long-term are beautifying our town. And this does not have to be specific to downtown either, so it's citywide. And however, we have had quite a few downtown, which is great, including this one. It was, so it's going to be a restaurant, and they're either like a bakery, wine option next door, so it's 2 addresses. And you can see the stark contrast. I mean, Daily Bread was absolutely amazing. They had like a grilled tuna sandwich that I miss very much. But also, this transformation is incredible. And what I really like about that corner of downtown is every building is either is like finishing up construction right now. So there's City Hall, this building, and then across the street we had another building that was part of the facade improvement program, and it also has housing upstairs. So that's the Double Barrel Tacos / Ray's Corner Cafe. And then the last building on the other corner is the Citizen State Bank building. And fun fact, I guess, is that they're also going to be under construction at some point. So they've got big renovation plans for that building as well. All that being said, so our facade improvement grant, it's a max of $25,000 and it's a 50-50 match. Probably want to know that part too. If they are designated historic locally, then it's a 25 cent to the dollar match. So there's incentive to for historic preservation within our facade improvement grant, and that then would have any sort of funding that goes that comes from the city go to the Historic Preservation Commission first before getting approved, and so then that helps us keep things like original brickwork or whatever else intact. Ooh, this was fun to learn about. So, does anybody know Lux Designs Boutique? Well, perhaps, but if you do know Lux Designs Boutique, they're moving into Mother Earth. So that's been vacant for, I don't know, it all blends together, maybe like 6 months or something. So they have purchased that building, and they are our most recent recipient of our facade improvement grant. So at the December meeting, they were awarded that. So this is their design. So they're going to be, I love this part. This is a planter box up above their entrance. And I think they've got some sort of fancy watering system that's going to make it all work. I don't know. I asked if they were going to water it through their windows, but they had answers. And then the back of that building, it backs up to Block 93, which is that area where the Montrose truck stop was taking place. So kind of exciting to see some renovations happening where we are potentially looking at adding more events. In addition, so as I said with the facade improvement program, there's an emphasis on historic preservation in general with DART, really, but some 2 major wins, I think, for the whole community, really all of Colorado, the world, is the Rathbone. Did anyone attend the grand opening for that? Oh, pretty good. And then who's gotten a coffee or cocktail there? Nice, pretty good. So huge project. Lots of work went into both of these. The other one, the Montrose Potato Growers building. So both historic buildings that are very unique to Montrose that we wanted to preserve. And so the city worked directly with the developers in helping to make that happen. Has anybody been to the association or the potato growers building yet? It's gorgeous, and I think that work started in 2017, and something similar for the Rathbone. We the Rathbone already received an award for their work this year, and we're going after 2 more awards for the other, or for both of them. So, yes, something to be really proud of. And then this, I love. Okay, so in addition to the facade improvement grant, we also just started a mural grant program. It's just starting to take off. So the mural grant, it's a $10,000 match. And the intent is anywhere on a commercial building in Montrose, a building owner can apply to receive this grant. And then it's reviewed just like the facade grant. I forgot to say that. But it's reviewed in front of anyone who shows up at DART, that monthly meeting, and there's feedback that's given back, and then ultimately the city management team can approve moving forward. But so the mural grant program intent here is obviously to make Montrose even more vibrant and when you go to another town and you want a spot to take photos, you want to walk around downtown, right? Like that's what you do when you want to experience a city. And so we're excited to bring a lot more artwork to the community, and I think that 2025 is going to be a really fun year for that. But this, does anybody know where this is going? You in the loop? So on the back side of Studio 14 by Gabrielle and the Heirlooms for Hospice building. So this actually extends onto 2 buildings. Go to the next slide. So this hummingbird is the entire, when you're standing there, it's like, I don't know, an 11-foot hummingbird. So it's going to be very dramatic when you want to go and take photos of it. It's also right next to the Pocket Park, which is good. We're working on that area as well. And then this is almost the final rendition of what the mural is going to be. They're going to swap out some of the sunflowers for some more like columbines and things like that. But and then they're also going to figure out how to make this just do something creative with that. But the mural grant program, something I'm proud of with it. It was really developed by our design committee within DART, and that is, again, open to the public. And we, as a team, decided that we wanted to protect building owners' rights with this. We wanted to, and we didn't want to add too much red tape to it. The goal is to bring in art. So, ultimately, if a building owner has a specific design in mind, we can do that. So some people really like historic looking murals with the browns, and which is awesome. And if a building owner wants to do that, we'll do that. And if you want it to be wild and crazy and colorful, personally, that's my preference. But we all have our own taste, and so we can do that as well. And I was gonna say something else. In addition, so the mural grant program and the facade improvement program are really good ways to kind of step by step beautify all of Montrose, but specifically alleyways for 2025 are going to be a focus. And as I mentioned, so this is the back of Mother Earth right now, and so that's got that facade improvement. The back of Mosaic also had a facade improvement in 2024. And then this whole alleyway, we are looking at adding some hang lights. So very tall, so that garbage trucks can get through. But and so again, that's block 93 where we're looking to host more events. The other alleyway that we're looking at more purposefully is behind City Hall as well. And that's already going to be a huge improvement from where it was a year ago. Between we've already added some lighting on the old City Hall, and then our new facade project right now. And so, yeah, with the intent of making downtown a little bit more walkable and welcoming, and yeah. In addition, we have the Demerit Park, and a lot of people don't know that that's actually going to be a focus in 2025 as well. So we are going to be upgrading some landscaping. We're adding spots for food trucks and events. That's an issue downtown for me as someone who wants to coordinate events. We don't have a lot of electricity to plug into at Centennial Plaza, the breaker strip, and it's a stressor, to be honest. So, and then also shading and seating. We've done some surveys about downtown beautification projects, and that's definitely the most popular thing, seating and shading. And, oh, in addition, this building right here has been under construction for a while, and it's also going to end up being a kitchen and then a market. And we are working with the developers of that project to incorporate, we might have some like outdoor seating that complements their project. So, to be continued. All of that being said, so this was already a lot, right? And I'm scraping the surface. You should just come to DART and then help me communicate this out to people, because there is a lot. And it's also just the coolest group of people. It tends to attract wild people. Our meetings are fun. They're casual. We sit in a circle. It's a rectangle, but and it's also a good direct line of communication with council members. They're part of it too, and so they're helping us build this as we go. And it's just, it attracts artists, business owners, and then just community members in general that want to make Montrose more vibrant. So join us. In 2025, we're going to see a lot of projects going on, and I urge you to feel excited about it, because it is very exciting. With that, Scott's going to be talking a little bit about some various improvements we're going to bring to the downtown area that are specific to his field as a city engineer. So, last but not least, I want to thank just all of you for being here and engaged, and all the people that have participated in DART. And DART is not just, like, it's not just me. There are so many different people involved with the city, between Public Works and just everybody's that is helping. Obviously, I don't, that's why Scott's going to talk about all of these projects. It's incorporated within DART, but this is really a collaborative effort among city folk and also the community. So, anyways, here's Scott.
Thanks, Michelle. So I'm city engineer. You guys probably know us from we usually come in March and do our thing. So I won't go into too much detail here, knowing that we'll be here for a whole hour between me and Jim in March, or sometime around there. But I just want to get you, or make everyone aware of what's coming down the pipe. For whatever reason, everything kind of aligned well. That usually doesn't happen in the construction world, where all these projects are happening kind of all at once, which is good and bad, right? This is our analogy for the summer. Underneath all those cones is Main Street. So good in that one and done. We're getting a lot over with all at once. Bad is it's going to be a pretty painful summer construction-wise, as always. I guess what you're having that said that. I always tell my wife, like, oh, it's going to be a calm summer. It's going to be fine, and she just laughs at me. Here we are again. But the project's happening, and this is, sorry, a lot of words on a slide, I try not to do that, but there's just a lot. So if you remember, we got the $2 million from CDOT for our West Main Revitalization project. That's from Sealy to the West Main Trailhead. There was talk of it going to 3 lanes at one time, but thankfully talked our consultants out of that. And we're able to remain a 4-lane section through that area, but incorporate bike lanes, bring out the curb lines a little bit, introduce some landscaping and have full ADA compliant sidewalks, 6 foot on one side, 8 foot on the other, on both sides. Right now, for anybody, really a lot of places on Main Street, unfortunately, like if you're in a wheelchair trying to get through, it's not good. So this essentially fixes everything from Sealy westward to the trailhead there. And can't talk about that without thanking CDOT, $2 million of pretty clean state money, not hard to use money, great for our community, that is making that project a reality. That one's been in design for about 1.5 years, through design permitting and some easement acquisitions. We're there, it's out to bid right now. So now, if everybody can just, cross your fingers with me that we'll get contractors. Contracting does remain a challenge. There's just so much work in the area. A lot of money that came out of COVID is all out to construction now. And so we're getting our projects out earlier than ever, trying to snag them before somebody else does. It's always, you just never know what bid opening day is gonna bring. So I'm very hopeful that they are out to bid right now. I'll move on to this East Main one, it's probably the next largest. So within Main Street, fun fact, the original lines that came down Main Street were wood water lines. That's how cool Montrose is. Those have been replaced over the years, but they have been replaced with lines that are now at the age where they're breaking. Kind of interesting. Those lines will break. They'll find the old wood water lines, run down 4 blocks and pop up somewhere else, which you can imagine from a construction or maintenance standpoint is nightmarish. So it's due. Also, anybody who's been downtown during a storm, not uncommon to see flooding, localized flooding, as those storm systems were never really properly sized. So we have the big kind of most impactful project for East Main will be an overlay, which we have planned to mill and overlay all of Main Street between Townsend and San Juan. But ahead of that, we don't want to have a nice overlay street and have water lines breaking underneath it. And so this project will start in February. Contractor pending, it's out to bid right now. And replace all the H water lines to that reach and properly size all of the storm sewers that are either in poor condition or undersized. Get all that done and then have the mill and overlay contractor come in behind it to do the new paving. Kind of similar to what was done on Townsend a couple years ago, if you remember. CDOT was doing that big overlay, but ahead of that, we wanted to not have a scar on their brand new road, so we did our utility project, and then the overlay came in about a month behind. With that will come some sidewalk improvements, so we drastically want to improve the widths and ADA accessibility along essentially all of East Main as budget and property allow. Sometimes there's right-of-way constrictions on those things. We're also reconfiguring the first median on East Main. So if for anybody who's gone, coming down Main Street westbound to get to Townsend, everybody's turning south, and that turn lane fills up and the light's green, you can't even get to it. This will kind of change that to get a little more storage to that area. So you'll see some median rework there, and then all that gets capped off again with the mill and overlay kind of last part of the summer. So the exact timing of all this, exact details, it's kind of going to depend on how the contracting and the bids come in. But generally speaking, we're trying to start the utility work in February. The idea of trying to get as much of that more impactful work done before the busy summer tourist season, and not starting it now, obviously during the holiday season. The challenge is there's just a lot of work to do, and so they'll need schedule for utility work into July and August. We'll obviously work around the parade events and things of that sort. But for the most part, we can count on some sort of construction on Main Street essentially the entire summer, both ends. All of that said, we're very cognizant of the impact to businesses. So we write a lot of things into our contract to kind of safeguard access needs to be maintained at all times. If they close parking, they can only do 1 block at a time, so you're not having people aren't driving past 3 blocks of closed and say, forget it, I'll go to Target. We want them to be able to still reasonably get to any business they need to, sensitive to timing, shutdowns, and all those things. So anybody who needs it, just Google my name. You can get my cell phone number if you have questions, concerns, problems as we get into construction. We are trying to make this as unimpactful as possible and have a really, really nice Main Street come September. I hate to throw a date out because construction, but And I think, a lot more detail to come if you follow DART. We'll work on some like videos and a lot of outreach through DART. Probably once we get heavy into construction, we'll do weekly video newsletters. Those will be distributed through DART, through our Facebook page, through our moving Montrose Forward Capital Projects webpage. Just follow those, call me on my cell. Happy to answer any questions that come up. And that's a good segue to Michelle.
Thank you. Just to wrap it up before we have questions, I'm sure there are a lot, but I just wanted you to know how to access info from DART. So our website right here. If you're gonna put your phone up, maybe like try to block the other ones. Or you can just, if you just Google City of Montrose DART, I would just recommend that, and that just goes to the city page. We also have Facebook and Instagram. I also always offer for if you happen to have a small business in Montrose city limits, feel free to tag Montrose DART and I can share your items. I do that left and right all day long, so all of that being said, that's where a lot of our events are posted, but they're also in the newspaper, all over the place. So just connect with me directly and come join DART, and then you'll always know. So.
Great, thank you. Lots of information. Those of you who have been to forum before know that during Q&A time, we do request that you raise your hand if you have a question and that you use the mic. Will Woody from the city of Montrose, bless his heart, comes every week and films this and then puts it on the city's YouTube page. In order for everyone to hear what the questions are, we need to use the mic. So, are there any questions? And if you'll tell us who you would like to direct that to, if the three of you would.
Just like to know what's happening to the old City Hall building and the Centennial Meeting Room.
So the question was, what's happening to the old City Hall building and the Centennial Meeting Room? Historic City Hall was sold just a couple months ago to a local family, and they have a plan of turning that building into a hotel. Right now their plan is to work with the operators and owners of the Rathbone Hotel and coordinate in some way. I hear that construction will be starting renovations at the beginning of the year in 2025, maybe it's spring. I don't know exactly yet, I know they're working on that. And then Centennial Hall has been envisioned to be a restaurant space that's connected to that hotel. And that's still the plan as I've heard it right now. That building, City Hall, is protected through the federal, state, and local designation historically. So you likely won't see much change to the exterior of the building. It's very important to us and to the owners of the building that stay a piece of our history. So lots happening on the inside, sprucing up on the outside, but no major changes.
I would also add, Judy Ann and I are on the CMU Advisory Committee, and they have agreed to work with Colorado Mesa University to add culinary and hospitality classes, and the students will be trained in the hotel and the restaurant there, and we will be able to offer those classes through CMU. So it's a joint project with Colorado Mesa University as well, and it benefits our local students.
We're lucky you're here, Kathy, since I forgot to say that. Thank you.
It's a win-win all around. Other questions?
I understand the Art Center is relocating. Do you have any information on that?
I do. They are not necessarily affiliated with DART, but a lot of people, a few of their members are heavily involved in DART. And I'm very excited for their new location. So they are moving kind of next to a yoga house, across the street from Hero Japanese. There's a corner unit that is, there's actually some, I'm not gonna call it park space, but there's some open space with a tree, and so they've got exciting visions for their new building. And they're also under new leadership, and so they're going through a lot of changes right now. And I actually invited them to speak at the DART meeting in December. They weren't quite ready yet, so I think they'll probably, y'all should invite them here. Yeah, I think they've got a lot of updates coming. They're actively moving.
Michelle, this is for you. One of the largest draws to downtown is the event center, the county event center.
Okay.
Okay. And I've heard rumors of numbers out there that facility loses about $1.5 million a year. And the question I've had for the county is, why don't you look at partnering with the city to provide some transportation or parking or whatever, so that event goers can go to the event and patronize our downtown stores. Is there any, is DART coordinating with the county, or what's going on with that relationship?
So the question is, let me make sure I understand. So in relation to the building losing money, you're wondering if we provide transportation downtown?
To use the facility to its best advantage by helping businesses. Is there any coordination with the county and the city?
Actually, so what I've appreciated the most, there's so many things, but about working for the city and with DART is we are really open to all sorts of collaborations. And I've worked for a lot of cities, and I've not worked for a city that's so open to at least having the conversation, but normally there's something beyond that for it. That's been my experience. So I'm not familiar with anything in particular with, say they've got a rodeo going on, transportation downtown. I'm not familiar with anything like that, but it's not something that we couldn't talk about at least.
Other questions?
Good morning. I have a couple questions. First one would be around Main Street. What is the plan to plant more trees or to replace out landscaping, grow the trees? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. So you're just, who's best?
Yeah, we'd love to introduce Jim Scheid, our Public Works Director. We have everyone here in the room today. We're going to call him a phone a friend so he can talk a little bit about the landscaping as part of West Main, and maybe get to your question about, are you asking about more trees or just trees in general?
I just general. I mean, I guess specific to the Main Street project, but yeah.
Yeah, yes, I talk about trees in general. Honestly, a lot of our trees downtown are a problem. We love trees, don't get me wrong, we want them everywhere, but they have, some of them outgrown their space, so they are causing sidewalk problems and other things, so we do replace them as needed. So some of them have come out even recently, but as we do that, we try to replace them with something that fits well in the space and isn't gonna cause future problems. So I think the overall goal is to keep our urban forest and our canopy downtown intact. So we have no desire to remove it, but that being said, there are trees that are a problem and we have to remove some of them. So I think that's our general approach to all of the Main Street projects. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and that is kind of a nice segue into my second question is about how community development and those professionals fit into, say, like DART and some of the decisions being made there and the mural reviews and all the bigger picture of town. And then my third question is easy. I wonder if the DART meeting times might, if there's been discussion to change them and maybe at least every other month meet in the evening when it might be easier for other people to attend. So thank you.
I love that question. I would love that. I don't know. We have really good attendance. So, but it's definitely been something I've heard throughout, and also that would be good for me personally. So let's start with that. But also, so to get to your first question, so my position is actually housed out of the community development department within the city, which is very helpful. I'm technically in planning, and so my boss is Jace Hockwell, the community development director. So, yes, a lot of involvement.
Well, the mic's moving. One more thing on the trees as well. So generally when we do the capital projects, so specific to West Main, there wasn't enough space in the boulevard being created to add trees. Something we wanted to do initially, but we will see a lot of greenery being added. So there is enough room for some shrubs and things of that sort. And then obviously like the median work that's getting redone, there's a tree pod there that will have to get relocated, but we'll plant new trees. So like Jim said, even when we do capital projects, we try and never have a net loss of trees. Sometimes they have to go, unfortunately, if they get too big or they're starting to hurt foundations, but always replacing with at least, sometimes even more, is always a goal.
So, this is for Scott. I moved here in 1976, and from that time onwards, there has always been, historically, a major underground water problem. And I mean, my business used to do work there was about a 5-block area. Every building you went into, you went into the basement, there was like 24 inches of mold, and that included where the new city building is down there. So, and I know I'm connected with the Methodist Church, and they spent a bunch, and the new technique of micropile drilling. Can you give us an update on that sort of 5 or 6 block area, which I think would have included the Rathbone and the old City Hall and various other buildings? Is there anything being done? Let me put it another way. Okay, if water comes in and it can no longer be accommodated by the substrate, by underneath, then it has to go somewhere, and it's going to come up somewhere else. So in the big picture of these hundreds of thousands of gallons of water that are sort of lying in pools underneath many of the city buildings, is there a plan to ameliorate that?
Yeah, we're the fund owners of many of those buildings on top of this water as well. So we feel your pain. Yes, so and someone told me this, I don't know if it's true, that Cascade was called Cascade because it had a river of underground water. I don't know if that's true. We need to talk to the historic folks. But generally, yes, a lot of the downtown properties, it's just a kind of a nature of the soil. There's some old artesian springs and, you know, the topography within the valley. There are groundwater, there's groundwater, you know, through the area. It's a good way to think of it. It is passing through. And so it's not a matter of, it doesn't have anywhere to go. It's actually, you know, as irrigation comes into the valley, we see highest groundwater levels typically midsummer. As irrigation, generally the valley is being flood irrigated, it contributes into those aquifers, they just come up throughout the summer. They go down a little bit in the winter, but not a lot. They really never go away. On our police station, for example, in Canada, practically speaking, what it ends up driving is a lot of more advanced foundation systems. So like that underpinning the project you talked about, we've had to underpin City Hall, historic City Hall, the Elks building, the new City Hall is built on piles. Really just building it so no matter what that water does, those buildings are stable. It's amazing what, you know, our the original town builders did. You know, the weight, like Rathbone, for example, the weight of those buildings and how they're able to get them to be supported on those soil conditions. Most engineers would struggle to do that today. All that being said, they're generally mostly stable. A lot of these projects have had underpinning just to bring them back to a more pristine condition. But generally the water will come and go and will always come and go. And there's really no, some cities will have major, you know, like New Orleans, for example, where they have, you know, major pumping systems that suppress groundwater tables. It's not at the level anything like that in Montrose that would happen. So it's really just making sure the building's foundations are able to be supported and work in those conditions. Sump pumps, things of that sort. It's been something our town's been dealing with since day one, and we'll continue to deal with.
Thank you for your questions. Thank you to all of you who are here to answer those questions. I think this is a prime example of the energy and enthusiasm in our community. It's what makes us special and why we all enjoy living here. There are things going on, there are people making it happen. They're good things, and we all benefit from that.